Recently I did a video on Jordan Peterson on my main channel, and Jesus Christ, the backlash. I'm not particularly upset about backlash when it happens. What I'm upset by in backlash is the quality of arguments against what you're saying. That's always the thing that bugs me. It's always just like, no, that's not a valid point. These are the main things that they're always saying about him. The first thing is, he's got no idea what he's talking about in history, in climate science. Okay. Do I expect him to be? Am I looking to him for what's happening in the climate? A psychologist from Toronto? Am I looking at him for his historical analysis? No. It doesn't matter what he thinks about history and the climate. Is he not allowed to have an opinion on these subjects? This is the other thing as well, as everyone goes, well, he should only talk about psychology then because he's a psychologist. No. How is that free speech at all? First off, answer me that. Do you agree with free speech or don't you? Clearly not. The radical left. How stupid is that point? Okay, by that logic, Noam Chomsky, because he's a linguist, should have no opinions on foreign policy. Do you think that would be a good thing for the world? On top of that, when you look into Jordan Peterson's readings on the climate, how he just goes, yeah, well, maybe it might be happening. I think it's stupid to be focusing on that. What would be a much smarter idea is bringing up child poverty to levels that are at least acceptable, that people are making $5,000 a year, because then they start caring about the environment more. That's a good point. I never thought about it before. And if I didn't like the guy and watch his shit, I would have never thought about it. Do you see how this works? This is really scary to me. The fact that people won't even hear someone else out and listen to their argument so you can at least argue with them. This is the other thing that always happens. There's always just these, God, I hate using this word, so Reddit. Fuck, I'm just going to have to get up really close and make this facial expression for this. Straw man argument. But you see this so much on the net, particularly with people that are always attacking Jordan Peterson. They make up this boogeyman in their mind and just start attacking him for things that are just like, now I'm going to have to use the meme of the classic Jordan Peterson, out of context, but it is. So much of what they say is out of context. Or they use labels, which I've said over and over and over again on my main channel. Don't use labels. I don't care how somebody identifies. And isn't it funny how the same people that are always saying that there's only two genders, you can identify yourself as a unicorn if you want, but it doesn't make it true. Those same people, as soon as someone identifies themselves as like a Marxist, which is the woman that I was talking about, Van Batten, as soon as she identifies as Marxist, I'm not listening to anything you say. Everything you say is wrong because you identify with some name that I personally don't like. Well, from now on, I'm identifying myself as a Black Panther. All right? That's me. And to say otherwise is offensive and hate speech. Look, it's just such a slippery slope of shit. The thing is, the main point I'm getting at here is, look, a lot of the things that are always attacked of Jordan Peterson is just making this boogeyman, straw man image of what the man is, and on the things that they actually do have examples of him on. It's always on history. It's always on it's always on like I don't know, climate science or something like that. It's always on yeah, but there's psychologists that disagree with him, and I like these psychologists more. But at the end of the day, all of this shit is theoretical, and it detracts from the main point, which is the point that I would like to get to, if I may, without being rudely interrupted by my own mind. Jesus. I don't have ADD. They are always... The main point of it is, stop overthinking these things and going into stupid little esoteric tangents. It is doing no one a disservice but yourself. What you should be asking with Jordan Peterson or Van Batten or John Howard or Paul Keating or any public figure ever that you're looking towards, you should be thinking, are they worth listening to? And the way that you should be judging that is, are they doing more good for the world than bad? That's it. Is their presence of positive net effect to the world? And I would argue strongly that Jordan Peterson's presence in the mainstream media is of great net benefit. Everyone always says this as a result. They always go, well, then he should just stick to talking about self-help instead of talking about history or talking about touchy political issues. No, because that's how he got to where he is. You don't think he's doing this on purpose? He is seeking out controversial things to say because as soon as he does, the media blows up and focuses on him. And he's smart in that he is looking in the Overton window of what is acceptable. This is the same thing as Van Batten, because she describes herself as a Christian Marxist feminist. So many people put off by that instantly. So as soon as she says something good about trade unions, and she is the only person in the mainstream media that does, as soon as she says something good about that, what does everyone do? Well, she's a Marxist Christian feminist, so she's an idiot. Again, I'm a Black Panther, okay? It doesn't matter what the label of somebody is. You should be looking at what the ideas are. And the thing is, the fact that she is in the mainstream media, at least drawing people's attention to the idea of trade unions as opposed to just pretending they don't exist, is a good thing. This is the same thing with Jordan Peterson. When people are always just either, coming up with labels, just going like, he's a conservative, or he doesn't know what he's talking about this subject. What they don't understand is when he says something controversial, there is a lot of media attention. It's the same way that Trump got elected. There is a lot of media attention that is just focused on them, like what and like water making a flower grow. That attention makes people's awareness of the fact that Jordan Peterson exists. Then, as a result of what other metaphor can we use? An aquarium filter. Just all these crap water methods. More people go and click onto his self-help stuff, and as a result of that, they learn about self-help, which most people never do in their entire life. As I'm sure a lot of people that watch this channel now would tell me all the time that they never thought about these ideas until they started watching this channel. And that is really sad for two reasons. First off, if you start working on self-improvement, that's of great benefit to you. But as Jordan Peterson always says, it's of great benefit to society to have one less damn rapscallion in the world. And it is true. That is undeniably true. So the fact that he has fixed the psychology of millions of people, so you can always sit there and go, he was on this PragerU. What have you got to say to that? I've got to say, that is a media outlet. I don't give a shit what he says on it. I don't care. Mad? I don't care if he says that there should be a comet that hits the Earth that is directed by the sun god Ra. That's his firm belief of how the world should be. It wouldn't faze me at all, because he is using that attention to get people to focus on self-help, as evidenced by the fact that is his main product. That is what his books are about. That is what his seminars are about. That is what people pay money for to go see him. And that is what the vast majority of his content is actually about. It's about self-help. That is of great service to the world. And that is of great service to you, personally, to listen to what he actually says about this thing, which is the irony about all the people that are attacking Jordan Peterson. Because if they actually listened to what he said and worked on self-improvement, they could criticize him better than what they do, which is just these lazy labels and these stupid esoteric examples that don't actually attack the central point, which is he doing good or bad for the world? None of that. And if they were able to focus their mind using the principles of self-help, because a lot of it is just about focusing your mind on a couple of key points or key activities that you should be doing that will be advancing yourself, you would be able to argue better. Not only would you be able to argue better, you probably wouldn't even argue in the first place, because you would see that what Jordan Peterson is doing is of net benefit to the world. But even if you did want to argue, you could do it. I've already said it 3 times, so I'm not going to say it again. And I'm not going to edit it either. Why does anyone watch this shit? Then the next one is that on top of all of that, he would be helping you towards you achieving your goals more effectively. So you would understand that what he is doing is of service. But instead, because you're at this level of thinking of everyone's a cunt except me unless they agree with me on everything on 100% of issues. It just shows that you're an extremely closed-minded individual if you can't look at things from a broader scale, at least hear people out to see where they're coming from, and then make a judgment on whether or not it is of benefit. And it also is a real sad service because you can see that that is the way that they look at life. That they look at their life from this very petty level of just trying to out people, or that's their whole goal in life, is to just try and get someone on something, or that they think that everyone's out to fuck them over specifically. That it comes from that mentality. And so you think about it for the rest of their life and you think, yeah, damn, God, I'm glad I'm not you. Because that means that they're hanging around with a bunch of people that just sit there and probably just smoke bongs all day. Oh no, God, I shouldn't have said that. That is a cardinal sin of the net. There's two things. You can't make fun of PewDiePie, and you most certainly cannot say that marijuana in any way could possibly be negative. So it's medicine, man. Let's just balance that out. Medicine. But they sit around all day just watching a bunch of shit and then talking about each other with really low-level shit. Just, you want some new Hurley, Mag? How good is that chick's ass? Do you think it's a 9.5 or a 9.7? They just talk about that shit all day, and so they're always in this low-functioning capacity where they're not striving towards anything bigger. And it's evident in the sense that when they listen to Jordan Peterson's self-help principles, they don't see any value in it, or they don't see enough value in it to just shit on him and tell other people that he's a piece of shit, to put into people's minds, don't even bother listening to that man. That is really sad, because by bringing those ideas down, it shows that you are bringing yourself down in life. You don't see the merit in those ideas being propagated. As you can see that I've done an entire channel on this, I'm very passionate about self-help, and anyone who helps propagate that message is A-okay in my books. Again, I don't care about anything they say after that, unless of course they're a policy maker or something like that, which Jordan Peterson is not. So that's fine to me. He can say whatever he likes after that. It would not faze me. Write things in the comments. Write things into the comments that you think he could say that would sway me from that thought. I really don't think it matters. At the end of the day, communication is just a signpost towards a goal, right? It doesn't actually exist. Communication is just a way to get you to think about certain ideas or ways of living or certain things that should be happening. Communication is communication, right? It's not things. They don't actually exist just because someone says it. That's not to discredit my own service, which, still keep watching. It is a certain tool in itself, right? It is a tool. It is not a product. So when it comes to the ideas of self-help and bringing someone down when they are trying to propagate that idea, I find that genuinely sad for the person themselves, because it shows that they don't respect those ideas and what they can do for your life. And as I've said 1,000 times on this channel, I would not be in the position I was today if I didn't pick up that Tony Robbins book by accident to pay it out going, "You fucking snake oil salesman." I wouldn't be doing it. It actually brings a tear to my eye when I think about how much self-help has done for me, personally. And that is evidence enough that it works. If it works for one person, that is evidence it works. But I have talked to countless people from my own channel, countless people that say they can see their life is moving towards a better direction as a result of thinking about the principles of self-help. So you should never be bringing someone down for that. But furthermore, it also brings into this bigger idea, which is no matter who the person is, you should be assessing this, whether it's your friend, family, anyone else, you should be assessing people in, are they doing more good for the world than bad? That is a really powerful way of looking at how people should be in your life or if they shouldn't be in your life. Because people are always saying this to me all the time of just going like, who should I have on my team? I hear that the top 5 people around you shapes who you are. Well, a really good top 5 people to have around in your life is people that do a lot of good things for the world, because that makes you think, oh, I should be behaving like that, as opposed to most people who just sit around in life looking for things to take from people. That is their mentality for life. It's like the same thing when I just release videos and everyone just goes, you released this one video I disagree with. You have given me literally thousands of hours of free entertainment, but this one video I personally didn't like, unsubbed. Terrible way to look at the world. So bad. So bad for you personally, because all it is about is like, what can I get out of this situation? It's not about looking at what can I give, because that thing actually does come back to you. That is one of the big secrets to my success, is understanding that idea of just releasing a bunch of free content and then just going, hey, if you want to see more, come see my stand-up show for money. As a result of that, I am earning a lot more than most people my age. A lot more. And it is a result of just giving things out to people, showing people a new way to think about things, showing people that this would be a better way that the country goes, that this would help for you. My whole focus in life is what I can give out to people using my skills, knowing that the money part will be handled later on. This is a result of self-help. This is a result of the principles that Jordan Peterson is consistently espousing. As a result of this, I can honestly say that I really honestly think that I am doing better for the world than I am not. That I'm learning about how the country should be governed and saying this is the best outcome. Everything else that they talk about is bullshit. These people are lying to you. This person is not. This is a thing that is of a service to society. And it's the same thing that you should be focusing on. And the more that you can serve society, the more you will be reaped in rewards. That's what Jordan Peterson has figured out. He says controversial shit. People focus on him. Then they look at his YouTube videos where he's talking about self-help. They go, shit, I never thought about that before. I'm going to go see what this guy has to say. And they pay top dollar to see him. It's the same as Tony Robbins. It's the same as a lot of these public figures that are doing more good for the world than not. You see it all the time. There is a lot of public figures that aren't. Your Miley Cyruses of the world, your Mike Tysons, these kind of people. Yeah, they might be still around. Your Lindsay Lohans. They might still be around. They might still be making a lot of money, but what happens to them? Even with all the nepotism and hookups that they have, and the huge notoriety and fame. I don't think that we'll be listening to Miley Cyrus tunes in 10 years from now. I could be wrong. She might be the next Dolly Parton. I don't think so. I think she'll just be, hey, I remember there was a chick once that was riding a penis on stage. To remain relevant, to actually advance in life, you should be surrounding yourself with people who offer more value than they take. That's what you should be looking for. Are you doing more good for the world than not? That's the way that you should be looking at it. So I want you to think about this from this perspective. Out of the 5 people that you hang around with most, because those, I can't remember what the study was, but there was a point, I think it might have been with Harvard students actually, but pretty much they were looking at the characteristic traits of people and they pretty much found that they are just an amalgamation of the 5 people that they hang around with most. And this could include media personalities and figures. So also include that. If you just watch heaps of James Corden, first off, fuck, what a trooper you are. I don't know how you do it. But if one of those figures is just somebody that you listen to a lot, include them as one of the people. And then look at those people and just ask this very simple question. Are they doing more good for the world than not? Because, look, there's a lot of people that will always say that you need to just get in with the group that is leading the pack at the moment. You gotta, if you're in marketing, hang around people that are good at marketing. And there's truth to that, but at the end of the day, a lot of people in marketing are cunts. So another question that you should be asking is, are they a marketer and are they a good person? Are they doing better for the world than not? And because it's marketing, the answer is almost inevitably no. But do you see my point here? Do you see my point? The people that you should be hanging around with should not be self-absorbed and be thinking about what they can get out of a situation all the time. They should be people that are thinking, how do I use this situation of bigger benefit to others? Those are the things that you should be focusing on. So out of the 5 people, which ones are doing more good for the world than not? because that will come back to you. That mentality of life, of just looking at life optimistically, looking at life in a way of, this person's actually helping out, give props to that person, that's great. There's few of them. There is much less people than you would, when you go through this, there is less people in the world that are, like, you know, have a really giving, kind nature, or at least striving to do good. There's very few of those people. Most people are just constantly looking about how they can take advantage of a situation. And it will come to you very quickly as well when you do this. That's your homework. See you next week.